In February 2006, the James Bond film unit travelled to the Bahamas to begin work on the first action sequence of the new 007 movie Casino Royale. Daniel Craig will replace Pierce Brosnan in the lead role as a younger, harder Bond at the beginning of his career as a 00 with British intelligence. The stunt sequences in particular will need to reflect the new, grittier Bond, and the action units face a major challenge. One thing's for sure. Whatever stunts they decide to do, they'll do them for real.
The stunts are as near to real as they can possibly be, which in this case is very real.
This is a very tough and hard Bond at the beginning of the movie.
I'm passionate about my art and I'll fight them tooth and nail to do it for real.
A large part of the action in the Bahamas sees Bond chasing his prey through a construction site.
We've been doing the middle part of the opening sequence, which is basically Bond chasing Bomber through a construction site, all up the girder work, up these cranes, down the inside of the building and back out again.
Finding a suitable location for the scene was a potential problem, but producer Michael Wilson knew of an abandoned hotel he'd spotted during the filming of the 1977 movie The Spy Who Loved Me. Fortunately, it was still there.
When we're looking for a building under construction for a film company, it's just about impossible to find, because by the time you go and look at a building, you have to plan to work there, and then by the time you're done planning, the building's moved on and probably finished. But this place, being an abandoned building, it was easy for us to make it look like a construction project that was still going on.
Everything in the Bahamas is imported anyway. They don't have anything really here, so we had to bring all our own equipment. I think we had about 12 40-foot containers. It was just a logistical shipping nightmare as well, to get it all here, obviously, for enough time to start building the set, to have it ready for shooting. So we had about a 6 weeks prep to get everything ready by the time the shooting crew turned up.
To make things a little more interesting, the focus of Bond's attention throughout the chase is skilled in the art of free running.
Sebastian, who plays our bad guy in that sequence, is a free runner, and it was my job to try and keep up with him.
Sebastian Foucault is the co-founder of free running, or parkour, and the producers were quick to cast him as Malaka in the chase.
The free running came in because our writers suggested. We looked at some tapes. We thought it would be an exciting thing to introduce.
The sport came to the attention of the writers when they saw a documentary called Jump London, which featured Sebastian performing his discipline around various London landmarks.
This is parkour, the anarchic new sport of free running. Free running is a new urban sport and was created by Sebastian Foucault, born out of the childhood games of him and his friends.
Free running's the art of moving from A to B as quickly and as efficiently as possible. If there's an obstacle in your way, it's about being able to get over it or find a way around it. We try to find something very functional, very efficient, more than to do something like tricks, something like this.
It's an art form, and throwing yourself sort of over impossible gaps and using the urban surroundings as your canvas to throw yourself across buildings, and Sebastian's particularly good at it.
It was important to get a sequence that was unusual and different, and it's a foot chase. It's simply the two guys, one chasing the other. And you have this free runner who's incredibly lithe and powerful. He can run and jump almost like a ballet dancer, against Bond, who has the power and the strength but doesn't have the finesse.
This scene's all about stunts. It's a very fast-paced action sequence, a lot of breakaway special effects bits and pieces. So it's just a one continuous journey all the way through. It's really, really fast, free running.
Bond chase me now, like all the time, but now he's with a digger, and the digger will crush the house over there, and me, I have to fire him like this, bang, bang, turn, bang, and running.
We got a 17, 18 ton digger up to about 35 mile an hour. Great big run up of about 300 yards and going to hit the side of that truck there. Got a few pyros in there, a few sparks and a lot of debris.
All these things, blah, is why I need to run very fast.
This is a stunt, okay? And, you know, God forbid, anything goes wrong, his brakes jam, anything like that, or whatever happens, spells, it can just keep coming. So we don't want anybody in this area here at all. All the unit, keep way back. If you're not involved in the shot, you've got to keep well back.
Next, the digger needs to smash into the hotel construction, narrowly missing Malacca.
There was an existing opening in the concrete slab, which they basically filled in with a steel frame, which was then filled in with breakaway slab. The course has been worked out very carefully. When the digger hits the slab, basically the whole thing crumbles. So that was all worked out by special effects. And the size of the digger, obviously, which is massive in relation to the building, then it's all finished to look like concrete, and hopefully you don't realise it's not real.
We came up with the idea back in England that it would be nice to see the bucket hit the concrete, and it basically causes a wave of concrete behind the bomber. So Chris Corbold built a couple of rigs and experimented with them, and he came up with what he came up with. And Martin's whole brief on all this is we want to do it for real, and we want to do it for real as well. For us, it's so much more satisfying. Marvin done a fantastic job of leaving the timing just perfect.
How's that, Marvin?
Oh, the nuts. Yeah, can I say the nuts? No, that was nice. That was nice, that one. I like that. Good. Cheers.
While work continues by day on the construction site, the action team spend their evenings piecing together storyboards for the next stunt sequence, a dramatic chase around Miami Airport.
93 and 94.
It's a huge sequence. Miami Airport, we bring into the equation tugs, petrol tankers, luggage, all of these things combined. I mean, it's terrifying.
Back on set, Martin Campbell is determined to keep on schedule, and now has 2 units shooting the free running sequence.
Martin just wants to crack on and get as much energy into it as possible at the moment. And the energy of it's about making it as exciting to watch as possible.
Having trained 3 months for the role, Daniel Craig is keen to do as much of the action as possible.
Of course, it's an action scene to start with, and he's extremely good at action. He looks very impressive, he moves impressively, and he handles himself extremely well. So that was a big relief.
It's dangerous stuff, so we have to be on top of it, but the energy's in the right place and the concentration levels are in the right place. Gary's boys, Ben, who doubles me, is my fight double, who's he's a fighter. I mean, and I've got to try and be at his level. Otherwise, there's no point. He's got to be doing the best he can as much as I've got to be doing the best I can. I think the fights should make you wince a bit. It should look like they hurt.
3, 2, 1, action! Got it?
We end up on top of this building site, and we're 200 feet up, I think we are, on a crane.
shoot up to the cranes, and there's a little bit of a fight up on the top crane, which is the first one there. That'll lead us into then the 2 jumps, which we're doing today.
We measure out what the actual jumps are, and then we do it on ground level. So say like the first one's 18 foot, we do that 18 foot on ground level, getting it right and knowing exactly what decel we're using on the equipment. Then we do the second one, do exactly the same again, but Martin's brief was the bomber's one has to be in one. So he literally jumps from the top crane to the middle crane, climbs over, jumps from there to the roof all in one shot. The dangers with that is obviously the wind. We was very lucky on the day that the wind was absolutely perfect for us. We had a limit of 12 mile an hour on the wind, so we couldn't jump if it was more than that, because basically the cranes will not operate above 12 mile an hour. Obviously the stunt guys, when they jump off the top crane and land on the middle, the second crane, their landing area is literally only just over a foot long or a foot wide. So when you're sort of up 140 foot looking down and you're literally looking at like a foot by 2 foot landing platform, it's not sort of fantastic. As soon as we get back to England, we're going to start prepping for the aeroplane or the airport sequence, along with the actual sinking house sequence, which is at the end, and also the car turnover, the Aston Martin car turnover.
Once again, Bond's car of choice is the Aston Martin, and as usual, the stunt boys are determined to give it a thorough road test, this time by rolling it as many times as they can.
We started working on the Aston roll, that must have been about 2 months ago now. We started off in BMWs and using a 6-inch ramp, just turning into the ramp at about 65, 70 miles an hour and rolling the car like that. So we did 2 rehearsals at that, did 1 rehearsal running in an Aston Martin, and then realised after doing the test with that the car was slightly more stable and grippy on the road, that the ramp wasn't going to be, or the ramp at that 6 inches of height wouldn't quite be the right height for the Aston. So then on the day that we shot it, we raised the ramp up to about 18 inches, just under 2 foot, to try and get that extra bit of lift. Then went again at similar sort of speed, 70, 75 miles an hour, hit it. We were hitting it with just one side of the car, obviously to try and get it to pitch over onto to get into a roll. As we hit it, it just completely levelled off and landed back on all 4 wheels and slid down. You do get thrown around a fair bit inside, and it's just a case of really holding on, and as the car's going over, you're anticipating the impacts.
Cut it! Let's get the boys in, please. Everybody in.
The car rolled a staggering 7 times. The stunt team think they may have a world record.
Car programme on TV went for the world record and they got 5. Now we beat that by 2, so we're sort of checking to see if that's the official world record now, which would be nice if it is.
I went to go and do as many as I possibly could. Well, I think I was doing just over 70 miles an hour, about 75, when I hit the button. Just took off really. Once it started to go and it bit into the grass, there was no stopping it really.
Over and over and over again. Great as well because they did the close-up on Eva, and he did the car swinging around, and it rolled again. So they have it from every angle. It's fantastic.
The airport scene was the most complicated action sequence to shoot. It spanned 3 airport locations, Miami, Prague and Dunsfold, and involved a multitude of high-speed exploding vehicles.
The airport's quite interesting. We've got a big tanker and a big tug that normally tow the big 747s about. They have a huge chase across an airport and basically destroy everything that gets in their path.
I've obviously had experience with tankers before and licence to kill, and they are a beast to start working with. You know, they're quite a few tons hurling around. You know, obviously we've got to improve on what we did on licence to kill, so we're going to strive to do even more spectacular things.
Prior to shooting, the special effects team spent weeks testing explosions and refining a wide array of mechanical devices to accommodate the dramatic stunts within the scene.
A plane is coming into land on this runway. So imagine a jumbo over there coming into land, and this tanker's having a chase with another car. So as the plane goes over the top, the engines create a thrust and car gets blown away. So what we're hoping is this rig is going to bring the car this way, send the car in the air, floating across this way, as though it's been blown by the jet engine. We tried it once, yeah, and it was quite successful, but this is going to be a bigger run, hopefully.
The stunt is ready to shoot, but there are still a few last-minute details to iron out.
Well, we're trying to protect the runway from being damaged by the car when it flies up.
If you hit this runway, it might gauge it.
Yeah, it could really damage it, and obviously will cost an awful lot of money. So they're just trying to figure out how to get it to land over there in the old section.
Well, we missed the runway.
But they didn't miss the camera, which took a direct hit.
When you do your first Bond movie, what you discover is that you know, the action sequences, they take a long time and they take a lot of work. And second unit get on with that, and they have to, because things go wrong and things don't work, so they have to repeat them. And you know, you blow up 4 trucks, you need to repair them again before you can blow them up again.
Probably the biggest stunt that we have from this scene, where the tanker goes through the bus, which is, it's a very precise stunt.
You've got a 6-ton tanker hitting like a 10-ton stationary bus, basically. So obviously that is, you know, a worry. You know, you try and eliminate all the dangers. Obviously, you know, it is a stunt and things can go wrong.
You have to have them in a movie like this, and they have to be right, and they have to be accurate, and they have to be worth watching. And if something happens, the next thing that happens has to better the previous thing.
We are in the sinking house set, which is towards the end of the film. We're now inside. We've obviously done our bit in Venice, which established this. We're now inside. Bond's just got inside the house, making his way to try and rescue Vespa.
Vespa's stuck in the elevator and it's dropping, and
I'm quite scared of heights, so
you know, it's just a bit scary, and sometimes, no matter how much you trust those people, you know, you can't help thinking, my God, it's gonna drop for real.
Pretty exciting stuff, but a very, very difficult set to work in because obviously there's not much space to move. Water always dictates its own pace in terms of schedule. Safety is paramount, and there are a lot of balustrades up here where there's a big drop down, so we've got to be careful. So it's not the easiest set in the world. The whole set is built on a gimbal, and it's huge. And Chris Corbold, who's the genius special effects guy we've got, has put it on a gimbal. It moves in any direction, and it sinks something like 15 or 20 feet.
I remember when I first started on the film, they said, oh, this is going to be the Bond, which is dark, gritty, there's going to be no gadgets, gizmos, and then they throw this one at us, which is the biggest rig we've ever built on any Bond in my career, or any other film in my career. It has been a learning curve, you know, find out all the little ins and outs of what you can and can't do, and iron them out before the shooting crew get there. The audience, you know, they still like to see somebody taking a risk. However calculated the risk is, you know, it's like the guy jumping off the dam. You know, a real guy did that, and I think that people respect that, rather than a big blue screen with a, you know, shot against blue screen or cheated or digitally put in. You know, that's a real feat of, you know, bravery. I think when people are doing that, and I think the audience still like that.